Hey everybody, this is Zach from Feelin the Rush, and today we have one of my good friends, Steve Phillips. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It was nice seeing you again.
You too.
So we've talked previously on the phone after watching the combine,
Yep.
and we've constructed a little list of who we thought really improved or really showed positive attributes to an NFL team later on.
Absolutely. The first one that I have on my list is probably a well-known name at this point, is Reggie Ragland, inside linebacker from Alabama. Coming from Nick Saban's defense, or really anyone on his Alabama Crimson Tide team, you know there's going to be a lot of power that comes with the linebacker position. Specifically for him, individually, he's a great run stopper, and there were questions about him being able to cover in the NFL or in the next level. I think during the combine, he really proved that he could do both. I think he can be a three-down linebacker with. He's not going to blow you away with his speed, but I think he can be a three-down linebacker, being able to get away with covering enough. And during the transition to the next level, I think he can really get more fluidity in his hips, get more speed, get more agile, and then be able to cover better. But one person that he really reminded me of is his play style was Brandon Spikes, being that thumper that he can really provide a really solid run defense, but also having probably better than Brandon Spikes' blitzing ability and really coming around the edge or through the middle on either gap.
You know, I'm not going to lie to you when I say he is a thumper. He really reminds me not of just Brandon Spikes, but on a higher level. Not speaking bad of Brandon Spikes, you know, I love you, Brandon. But he really reminds me a little bit of like a Luke Kuechly, not with the physique. He's not anywhere close yet.
Not as flashy, but
he will get there. With his tape, I compared both of them side to side, and I pretty much saw almost the same player in a different person's body. Now, I had some players myself written down of who I thought were really improved their stock. I look at Sterling Shepard a lot. If you haven't heard that name, he's a wide receiver from the school Oklahoma Sooners, where AP came from, if you don't know. He really proved to be more of I'm here, look at me shine. There are players out there, Laquan Treadwell, Corey Coleman,
those bigger names,
and Josh Doxson, people like them. But he really proved to me that he's not a day 3, maybe not even day 2. He might be day 1, like player taken this year's draft. I know one team that likes him, one that I'm very fond of, Carolina Panthers. He's visiting them soon.
I have a hard time believing that he could fit into the round 1 parameters because I don't think there's a big need for wide receiver other than those top tier guys you mentioned. I don't know how he's going to fit in. I think he's a great player. He has a lot of potential in the next level. Mm-hmm. Don't know if he can squeeze into that number round 1 as a pick.
I will say comparing him to someone like a Steve Smith Sr., because there was another Steve Smith in year a while back. I'll just clear it up saying senior. Besides his attitude, his size and get to the ball mentality really shows to me as a fan that he will do whatever it takes to get to the ball, and that it takes more to how do I say it? He just will he'll get to the ball no matter what.
He'll lay out for it. He'll come back.
He won't have the attitude of Steve Smith. Obviously,
he'll make you pay on the field more than his mouth.
He'll hurtle over you.
Yep.
He'll spin out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? Who else did you have on your list?
Another person that I had at the probably the best position on the field is QB Christian Hackenberg from Penn State. I was really excited to talk about this guy. I've loved him since his freshman year, with watching his highlights online and everything, and he's really grown into his own type of player.
He was supposed to be a top 5 pick coming up, but things fell through. Penn State didn't produce as well as they were supposed to.
No.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I think he's really come into his own. He's got a great pocket presence. He's not a mobile quarterback if you've seen any footage from him. But boy, he can thread the needle with his strong arm accuracy. He's got a cannon on his shoulder for that arm because he can lay the ball in there. I remember him and Allen Robinson against, I think it was Michigan Wolverines, and just watching their game was incredible. How he had such poise and the coming back and won the game at the last minute. But his pocket presence reminds me of Tom Brady. I know that some people may drop drop their jaws on that, but he's not going to.
He doesn't deflate this, I'll tell you that.
Zinger, there it is. But he's not going to blow you away with his the records that he has, or he may not be able to be that stature of Tom Brady he has been in the NFL, but Christian Hackenberg's pocket presence is extremely good, and he can see the field vision. He has the field vision to see it really, really well.
Well, now that you bring up a quarterback, let me throw another one at you that people might not know about.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Allen from Arkansas. I am a very big fan of the Razorbacks. I will rep Hunter Henry. I'll rep Alex Collins. I am a hog. I'll tell you that right now. But he reminds me of what Ryan Mallett should have been.
Okay.
He is that big, tall guy, but he's built to play in this league. And people overlook him for players like Hackenberg, Goff, Wentz,
Yep.
and Paxton Lynch.
Yep.
You know, they don't remember the hogs, if you will, but besides Ryan Mallett and all of his off-the-field issues, like missing planes and stuff like that, and drugs and whatnot. But, you know, Brandon Allen really reminds me of someone besides Ryan Mallett. He really reminds me a lot of someone like Phillip Rivers. Like you said with your player, that, he's not going to drop your jaw, but I can see him getting to that point.
They both have a lot of potential. I think they could reach it. Maybe not in the first 1 or 2, 3 rounds.
Brandon Allen
is
is not a first-round pick.
Right.
I probably wouldn't even have him day 2 yet.
Mm-hmm.
But on a talent base and what he showed off in workouts and whatnot, I see him being something really special in this league.
What about corners? I know you had a lot of secondary options that you were considering.
I'm a very big D-backs fan. Besides, other than the Hogs, but putting out there Eli Apple, he is a very big name in this draft, and also William Jackson III. They both are big, tall corners, and they both can play. But what I really enjoyed watching at the combine was how well they can move their hips.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tricky for corners to be able to move their hips the way that they did. They proved to me that they are first-round picks. Like, Eli Apple was already a first-round pick to me, but William Jackson III really moved up from a day 2, mid-round day 2, to a day 1 in my book. Maybe like a 25 to 40 range in the draft.
I do need to go back and look at more of their tapes because I remember that both of them would, just the speed in which they turn their hips, and they could do it very fluidly and very gracefully, that really made them, that could make all the difference with a ball already in the air, just being able to turn it, really swat it down or even get a pick. Those are the things you look for, so absolutely.
I'm very excited to see what they can do at the pro level because of their size, and just see where they can take the next team, because receivers are getting taller and taller, or they're either just going to be flatline runners.
Right.
And I really see these two guys being like number 1 corners in the NFL someday.
Yeah, I could see it too, eventually. And it takes time for them to come into the prime, but I could agree with that.
Yes. So let's get down to facts here.
All right.
We had 2 players that we were really excited to talk about.
Absolutely.
I love the play of Shaq Lawson, but let's talk about his teammate too. Let's see how they can compare to be Kevin Dodd, the teammate.
Shaq Lawson and Kevin Dodd are 2 outstanding and very intriguing prospects that are coming up to the 2016 draft. I think both of them have such unique play style that complement each other very well. I think depending on where the need is and who they can go with into another team, into the NFL, making that transition won't be an issue for either of them. I think they have the talent, they have the size, they have the speed and power that really anyone would look for. I think Kevin Dodd is moving up in a lot of boards because Shaq Lawson, he kind of got overlooked, I think, during the season by Shaq Lawson, but you don't hear as much of Kevin Dodd except for recently, as Shaq Lawson has been mentioned throughout the regular season of the college game. Mm-hmm. Both of them, I think, are both outstanding players. I think they both can make an impact immediately. Depending on the type of defense that they're put into, I think they're both probably best suited for a 4-3 defense. I agree. Yeah.
I will say, though, I will represent Shaq Lawson over Kevin Dodd in my take because Kevin Dodd didn't play very well, at least as far as I know, the first couple seasons. Shaq Lawson was always there. He was the beef of that line, and for Kevin Dodd to just come into his own and just become that second edge rusher, that's why Clemson to me was so good. Yes, they had Mackenzie Alexander, the corner.
Right.
They had T.J. Green, the safety, and then these two guys.
Yeah.
But I feel like all four of those guys, all of the defense together, that's what made them so great. That's why Clemson was so good on defense. They had the two edge rushers. It's a lot like the Denver Broncos this past season. They won the Super Bowl purely off of defense. Von Miller,
Yeah,
DeMarcus
absolutely.
Ware, and Malik
It's a
Jackson.
defensive game now, absolutely.
Yes.
I think Kevin Dodd, in my book, I know we kind of see it a little bit differently, but I think Kevin Dodd has a lot more upside because he's come into it in his own a little bit later. I think he hasn't bloomed all the way. He can really grow into the position and really knock some people down. The stature I know is very similar, about 6'3" to 6'5", close to.
They're very similar within
Very
their body types, at least.
Yeah.
Too.
I think that's why they complement each other so well, is because they could do that and really could move those offensive linemen around as much as they could.
Right. All right. Well, it's been great. Like, I love talking about the draft. You
Absolutely.
know that.
Can't wait.
And it was great to watch the combine. Can't wait to see what happens later on.
Me too.
All right, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.